And we are back with another episode of Last Call. I'm Kyle Craven, joined today again by Larry Weichel and Michael Ruscher, all from the Norse Report. Guys, just get right into it. Weekend doubleheader, back-to-back, last back-to-back, hopefully, of all time, ever. We beat Wright State in the first game, lost in the second game, which happened to be homecoming, senior night, all that stuff. But I couldn't believe it. I was blown away. I don't know. I don't think any of us, we recorded this last week. I don't think any of us were expecting to come away with a win, much less to play them for 80 minutes and both games going possibly either way up to the last second. So I don't know. Any quick thoughts, guys? Like what was going through your mind when the clock hit 0 and we were winners on Friday?
I was ecstatic. I think we can all agree when we did our last episode. I don't think any of us thought that a split or even a sweep was possible. I think we were just discussing what we needed to do to remain competitive, and to see how we came out Friday night. I think we were the aggressor from the beginning. I was really impressed by our energy on both ends of the floor. And I think I mentioned, offline between the three of us, I think the expectation of Wright State when they came in that first game was that they were going to come in and smack us around. And I don't think they really expected the type of energy that we brought. I think it was an all-around good game for us, both ends of the floor. Four guys in double figures. Adrian really darn close, 9 and 11 rebounds. 1 point shy of a double-double for the night. And I think what was really good about Friday night, we were 13 of 16 from the foul line. So that was a great percentage there. And I think the most glaring positive fact, we out-rebounded Wright State 39-35 that night, which, by seeing their height and how big they are down low, I think that was just a wonderful achievement in itself.
I think just to piggyback a little bit off of what Mike was just saying, this is probably the most proud and excited I've been about a Division I victory as I can remember. I can't really think of one off the top of my head that made me feel this good. Part of it might be because we knew we were coming into the season with a very uncertain product and we weren't really sure what we were looking at, whereas Wright State came into the season with possibly their strongest roster since we've been in the Horizon League. They're not terribly deep, but what they do have is really, really strong. I think we had some players really show what they're capable of when they're in the spotlight. Marquez Warwick continues to prove that not only is he Horizon League Freshman of the Year, but he needs to be battling for one of the all league teams. I don't know how he can be overlooked at this point. Every time the game, takes a bigger spotlight, he plays a bigger role in the victory. Even in defeat, he balls out and he shows that not only does he belong, but he's a legitimate Division I starter as a true freshman, putting up ridiculous statistics. And I would take him over any other freshman, any 5-star recruit at this point. I would take Marquez over anybody right now. I can't be more excited for that kid. Not only a great kid, but proving to be kind of what we thought he was going to be when we signed him. So really excited about that. Bryson Langdon continues to show that not only does he belong, but as short in stature as he is, he plays with more heart than any point guard I've seen in a while. I know we've had some great shooting guards over the years, but as far as a guy that will lead the team up and down the court and basically lead by example, this kid at 5'9", 170 whatever pounds, he will get in the paint and fight you. And it's crazy thinking that we go into Wright State, Wright State comes to us as widely considered one of the most physical Division I college basketball teams this season, one of the strongest, one of the best rebounding, excellent free throw shooters, excellent guards. They came into our house. They probably should have pulled out a sweep on us. And every player up and down our roster that participated played a big part in these wins, from Warwick to Faulkner to Langdon to Nelson. It looked like we pulled out David Bam. We seemed to pull him out of the closet, and all of a sudden he's getting 20 minutes a game, both games. And we were in control of the first game, I believe, from start to finish, in my opinion. Second game, Wright State clearly had the momentum what seemed like the entire game. But I mean, as a non-starter getting 26 minutes a game, he's showing that his value is really hard to quantify, because his minutes have been like this throughout the season. But seeing him out there and battle and put moves on defenders who looked like they had no idea what to do was really fun to see him play against that level after seeing him develop throughout the season. So, but a split against Wright State, I would not have. I really, as much faith as I have in the team, I was expecting us to get swept. I'm thrilled to death with the split. Absolutely thrilled to death.
No, I agree. And Larry, just to piggyback on what you said about Bryson, I'll finish out the rest of the season thanking Coach Horn for kicking him out of practice about a month ago, because it seems to have just lit a fire underneath Bryson. He's been a completely different player. Nothing like what I think we had seen early on into the middle part of the season. He's become an absolute leader for this team, and he's getting down and dirty. I mean, he's taking it inside. He's a totally different player. And, let's be honest, Saturday night, I think he, a couple shots, kept us in it when it looked like Wright State was going to run away with it early on. And I was really impressed how we kind of stayed calm, remained within ourselves, and took that first couple punches to the chin early on. And, even got to the point where we had taken the lead late in the game. I mean, if you would have asked me any other time, I would have thought when we got down early, knowing what Wright State's track record is of second games, after they dropped the opener, I would have thought we had no chance in hell of catching back up or even, making a remotely close game. And, not to sound negative at all, we had a couple missed opportunities, guys, that I feel had we taken advantage of those, we may have gotten the sweep. A couple free throws here, maybe a bad pass or something there. But again, overall, like Larry said, I can't ask for anything better than a split. And I like the momentum that this team has going into the tournament next weekend.
Yeah, I want to agree with both of you guys. The fact that, I'll just be honest. I said in my article, I wrote an article 3 ways that, or 3 things NKU has to do really, 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 really well, or whatever it was, to actually win a game. And, I covered, the 3 things that I thought really had to do. One of them ended up being a little off base. It seems like we wanted to run with them, which I thought was a death wish, but it actually worked out.
Paid off, yeah.
Well, it's funny because, look, people on the Norse page, Norse Nation fan page, they're not idiots, they, some of them might be a little bit too high expectations, or, obviously passionate to where it kind of clouds some judgment or whatever. But these, our fans they really know basketball, especially the ones that are highly engaged this year. And so, a lot of people were commenting, no, we need to get them to run. We need to get them to run because they're so big. We'll tire them out. They don't go deep in their bench. We'll tire them out. And my whole thing was yeah, okay, they're big, but you think Loudon Love can't run up and down the court? The guy is a thoroughbred horse. Yes, he can. I mean, eventually everyone gets tired, but they're used to going 8 deep all season. So us running with them is not anything that they're not used to. So I was actually really worried about it, but I just think that we played such a great mix of we controlled the pace. I honestly felt I felt there were little spurts that Wright State had that if they were allowed to continue to go, then it would be over. I remember there was an 8-0 run they had in the first game, first half, and I was like, we got to stop this immediately. And we ended up having a really good play where we came down and we scored again. I think Warwick hit a 3 or something. And I was like, remember that moment, because if they had kept that run going, we would have lost. And it felt like, aside from those very small windows where Wright State was able to kind of get their way with us, I genuinely felt like we controlled the pace of the game. Like, we played those games on our terms. And that felt really good. And I mean, we'll talk a little bit about the tournament and expectations and stuff like that, but heading into it, I don't think that we could be asking for a better. I think we've got to be. It's us and Detroit Mercy probably that are the two teams that are in the best position to get hot and go. But we'll talk about that a little later. Yeah. Anything else that you guys noticed that really stood out to you regarding specific players? I know, Larry, you kind of mentioned Warwick and having him being considered for All Horizon League. I think it's obvious he's going to be freshman of the year. We're all marking that down. But actually, I don't know this for sure, but the Horizon Roundtable guys, we all submitted our picks today for the top 15, basically first, second, third team. And Norse Report's Horizon League Player of the Year metric spit out Marquez Warwick as the 8th best player in the Horizon League. So, granted, that's a Horizon League Player of the Year predictor metric. So it's not exactly spitting out the 15 best players. It's spitting out the 15 most likely to win that award. But that's still that's factoring in their age. The fact that he's a freshman and he's number 8 on that thing is incredible. So he ended up with I actually just looked this up to further your point. He ended up shooting in conference. By the way, he was the number 1 scorer on our team in conference play, in 18 games of conference play. He averaged the most minutes in conference. He averaged 54% from 2-point range, 38, almost 39% from 3-point range, which is really good.
That's awesome.
For a freshman. 83% from the free throw line, Larry.
Yep.
And 17.5 points per game. Those are almost, I mean, it's not quite, those are almost Horizon League Player of the Year numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
What's funny is I've got friends that text and message me here the last couple of weeks, speaking of Marquez, asking, are we going to keep him 4 years? Is he going to stay? And my answer is, to the best of my knowledge, he and his family love NKU way too much, because I want him for 4 years. He has got the opportunity at this pace, guys, to just absolutely shatter records over there based off of his play. He's very good, and he's only getting better. And just his mindset and his ability just to play so calm under pressure, doesn't seem to get rattled whatsoever. If you watch, his facial expressions are the same from the opening tip till the final horn. And for someone that is a freshman coming in playing D1 basketball, that's huge. That's huge. And so, all I can answer at this point in time is, to the best of my knowledge, he loves NKU, loves Coach Horn, loves everything about us. And I'm just hoping that stays the case, because he's a fun one to watch.
And I'm still baffled. I hope there's a lot of, high major teams that are out there just kicking themselves in the teeth, wondering where in the world they missed the boat on his recruiting. And I guarantee they're out there. I mean, especially a team like UK that's had a rough season. Louisville got beat by 1,020 points last night. I got to wonder how many teams out there that could have had a shot at him didn't stand a chance at him because they didn't give him the time of day for whatever reason. But when you have a Drew McDonald getting national recognition, that brings recognition to the university. And even though it doesn't feel like a direct selling point, somebody like a Marquez Warwick can look at NKU and say, you know what, it might not be UK or Louisville or Memphis or whatever. But I have a chance to be an All-American because I've seen it. I've seen these guys get their name out there nationally. And if I just do my work, I can too. And I think that's the attitude he brought with him.
Yeah, I want to actually hammer this one home real quick, Larry, and then we can move on to the tournament and some expectations there. But on the point about recruiting, it's who's to say that somebody maybe wouldn't have come along. But you'll remember we got the commitment from Marquez Warwick before his senior basketball season, and
Right.
he blew up that senior year. He beat the number 2 team in the state at home. He ended up in the top. I think he won his district in terms of Mr. Kentucky. I mean, if we don't get that commitment before his senior year, I mean, if he bets on himself, I guess, goes into his senior year and says, I'm just going to play this out and go, who knows, man. And to what I've been saying about Coach Horn is, if you watch the trend of the way he recruited last year, he was going after a lot of guys that we probably had no business getting, right? Guys that are getting offers from Florida State and Georgetown, and just big time programs. But he's getting in there first. If you look at their offer sheets, he offered JJ Traynor, who's currently a freshman at Louisville right now. He offered him before anybody else did. And then, he plays out a full season, ends up being a 4-star, gets offers from John Brannon, then gets offers from Chris Mack, and he's gone. He's at Louisville. So what I've been saying about the way Horn's recruiting is, I mean, obviously you want him to recruit for our team too and get actually land players that we can get, but I have no problem. It's not like, it's not like we only have a certain amount of offers you can give out and then you're done offering. You offer everybody in the damn country. I don't care, because all we have to do is strike gold once and we got it.
Yep.
But anyway, I want to ask you guys. So NKU got the 4 seed. Not sure if you guys saw the rest of the bracket, how it works out, but it's, Cleveland State's the 1, Wright State's the 2, Oakland's the 3, NKU's the 4. And then the rest of it is all these guys are going to play games on this coming Thursday. So it's going to be Detroit Mercy versus Robert Morris. And then Youngstown State's going to take on UIC. And then Green Bay, the 7, is going to take on Purdue Fort Wayne, the 10. And finally, Milwaukee, the 8, is going to take on, who am I missing? Somebody, the 9. IUPUI, the 9. Yeah. Or those two might be flipped. I can't remember. But 8-9 is Milwaukee and IUPUI. So I say all this because it's important to know what all the seeds are. NKU is going to have to play the highest remaining seed in the second round. So the way I'm looking at it is my expectations are we're going to get Detroit Mercy 99%. I'll save mine all for the end, and I'll just kind of dump them. But I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. I don't care who starts. One of y'all just jump it.
Larry, I'll defer to you. Go ahead.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think that in our current form, coming off the series with Wright State, I think we're playing as well as we're going to play on the balance of the season schedule. So going in against Cleveland State, I feel good about it. I think Cleveland State has had a season that nobody could have possibly predicted. I like our chances of pulling a win off against them. And then after that, I think I won't say smooth sailing, but I think that we'll handle business. We get through that first game, and I think it's going to be smooth sailing after that. So it'll be very interesting to watch. For some reason, I don't know why in my head I'm thinking this. I don't like a Youngstown State matchup right now. Maybe it's PTSD from our series with them or something. But yeah, we'll see how things shake out. But it's really hard to predict anything with this. This conference has been so, sometimes completely backwards this season. So we'll see.
No, I agree, Larry. I think Detroit Mercy is the lone team that we didn't have the opportunity to match up against this year. So, in terms of having that familiarity of back-to-back games with them isn't there. So it'll be interesting. I mean, they're definitely like Kyle said, one of the hotter teams coming into the tournament. in addition to a handful of other ones, obviously. But I agree with you, Larry. I think if we can get by the unknown of that first game, if it is indeed Detroit, that I'm willing to take my chances against just about everybody else. I think we proved when we were up at Cleveland State that we can play with them. Again, that was kind of prior to what I felt was everybody just kind of accepting their roles and buying in at that point in time. And, I felt we played them competitively up there in those games and would really like another shot at them. Your point about Youngstown State, that was our first Horizon League game early on. And I think, both of us are different than what we were way back then when we were able to get the split with them early on. But I'm just ecstatic with the momentum that this team has going into the tournament. Will I be devastated if we lose the very first game? Yeah, it's probably going to knock me down a couple notches. But I'm excited because I think these guys are really playing together. As we mentioned early on in the show, that there's a lot of guys that weren't stepping up early on that are doing it now. And, based off our past tournament success these past couple years, hey, anything can happen. There's going to be some people that are upset that maybe won't allow for what the quote unquote supposed matchups are going to be. We've seen that in years past. So I'm excited, and I'm willing to take whatever's thrown at us and hope for the best. And, hoping that we're playing in that title game again with an opportunity to go to the big dance.
Yeah. I think both teams, Youngstown State, Detroit, equally talented. Detroit is not this isn't your everyday Detroit. Antoine Davis is still on to Antoine Davis. He does go off against us. I recall multiple 30-point games against us. I think of specifically the 2018-19 season, but I would say that I'm probably more concerned with Detroit Mercy than I am with Youngstown State, just because Quisenberry, he never really does well against us ever. I think his highest point total against us is 14. We've kept him in single digits almost every other time we've played against him. He's not having a great season this year. He's definitely not an All Horizon League player, which is crazy. This kid was a Horizon League Player of the Year contender preseason, and he's totally played himself out of it. He's been in and out of the lineup with injury, illness, mental. I'm not sure what, but he's missed a lot of games this year. I'm not as worried about them. I think Nelson matches up really well against Akuchi. That all said, I agree with you that I feel more concerned about Detroit Mercy than I do Cleveland State, which is crazy to say that. I really think that second game against Cleveland State, we showed that we can beat them. Cleveland State also might not have they actually might not have a player on an All Horizon League team. It sounds crazy to say that as the number one seed, but they really might not. We're all going through and looking at the numbers. They're probably going to have a Defensive Player of the Year potentially, whether it's Demoy Hodge, who leads the conference in steals and steal percentage. It could be Spider Johnson, who leads the conference in steals and steal percentage. It could be Gomillion, who is a really good perimeter defender. It could be Torrey Patton, who is probably another really good perimeter defender. They have a really good team defense, and somebody on that team is probably going to get something, or at least on all defensive team for sure. But yeah, I don't get scared by Cleveland State top to bottom. I think we played well against them. I'm more scared about Oakland just because there's so much unknown there.
Right.
But that's why I love having Oakland on the other side of Wright State, because that's the team that most convincingly, even more convincingly than us, beat Wright State this year. They got beat by like 40 on night one, came back on night two. They're the only team to beat Wright State on night two this year. And they came back on night two and beat them by 10. That's much different than beating Wright State on night 1 and then getting crushed on night 2 like everyone else but us did. So I think the two teams that have given Wright State the most, like, have had the most impressive showing against Wright State is certainly us. Like, we're number 1. And that, other than us, like, Oakland is the only other team to beat them by as well as they did. You know what I mean? And doing it in night 2 to me is really impressive. And I think Greg Campy you can never count him out. He's always got a win in him. So,
Right.
We'll see. I said yesterday to my roommate, who was kind of just talking to me about, like, dude, like, he's like, dude, what if we win another Horizon League tournament? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, Barstool NKU was talking crap to Barstool Wright State, and Barstool Wright State made fun of Tyler Sharp not being able to dunk because he missed that dunk last year or whatever. Right. So they're making fun of him. And Barstool, right, NKU just ended the conversation. They quote tweeted that tweet, and they said Tyler Sharp has more Horizon League Conference tournament championships than your entire roster combined, or than your entire roster. Right. And I was just thinking, like, I think someone said it as well. I think it was maybe Chris Boggs or somebody. I can't remember. Maybe it was one of you guys, that we have won more conference tournament, or we've won as many conference tournaments in our time in the Horizon as they have in their time in the Horizon. And they've been in it 5, 10, 8 years longer than us,
longer.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. So if we come out and we win another one, you know, to make it 5 straight championships of some nature, right? Add a 5th banner to the wall back there. That is incredible. And the most impressive part about it is we did it year 1. The year 1 we did it. We did it with a second-year coach and a super young team, right? We win another one, you know, regular season championship, win another conference championship, which we were expected to win, that Drew McDonald's senior year. Our coach and best player leave, right? Bring in an entire new staff. We got some holdover players from the previous championship, so we got some winning DNA in the locker room, but we have an entirely new coaching staff. We win it again, okay? Now you take away all that winning DNA as far as players go, bring in all new blood, and if we could win it again this year, like, that's a program. Like, that is a program that is sustainable beyond any one individual or any one coaching staff or any one group of players. Like, that is building up a culture of winning. And that's something I think we really need to be excited about. But that said, like, all of our eggs shouldn't be in the win this season basket. Like, if we don't win, it's fine. We're still there. We can do it again. We can do it next year, the year after. We are still very much considered, you know, in the dynasty realm. But it's amazing that this team is a 4 seed and probably got the best possible draw, aside from I would have loved to have, like, you know, someone else as the 5 seed. I hate that Detroit Mercy jumped Youngstown, but other than that, I mean, we got such a great draw. We definitely have a really good chance to make it far, and I'm looking forward to it. Hate that we can't go though.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I don't believe in jinx. I'm not a superstitious guy, so I don't believe in jinxes. But looking up and down Cleveland State's roster and looking at their seasonal, you know, their games and how they competed against some out of conference teams, things like that, I'm genuinely not impressed with them. I think when your leading scorer, you're basically your volume scorer is averaging 14 points a game and is the only player on the roster in the top 25 scoring in the conference. And I mean, this is a team that lost to Ohio University by 50 early in the season. And then I believe they lost again by 40 to Wright State at one point this season. This is a team that I think that they tied their boat to slowing the game down and playing really sturdy defense. And I think that we've seen over the balance of our schedule now that we have the horses to run. And the team we have right now is nothing compared to the team that played Cleveland State last time. We're a completely different team, and I would actually really enjoy and invite that matchup. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I go as far as to say unimpressive, Larry. I think it's a little harsh, but no, I will say that the way I would say it is I'm less scared. I'm the least scared by Cleveland State in a semifinal situation. I just, it's a team that like they did jump on us in the first game, and credit to them, but like we definitely came back and fought and all really we're a Marquez Warwick rim out away from taking that game into, I believe, a second overtime. So I mean, I'm not super concerned with them. Like I said, I think Oakland's got a very underrated team. I think they match up really well against us. Dan Oladapo is basically Adrian Nelson cloned, and Jalen Moore is secretly one of the best players in the Horizon. I mean, he is every bit of Marquez Warwick or Trayvon Faulkner, take your pick. They have a good group of shooters. I think our team is better top to bottom, but we're so young that like a team that is that talented, matches up that well, and is coached very well, can definitely expose it. And Wright State's kind of the same way. I mean, they're not both teams are not teams I necessarily want to face in the second round. I'd love to get them in the championship.
What I like about an Oakland matchup, though, Kyle, is the fact that they play no defense. That they have a horrendous defense, and the way that we have transformed over the course of the season and subtly made different little adjustments in our game offensively, I think I'm not going to say we would run right through them, but I really, really think it's a favorable matchup because I think what we do well now really plays strongly against the fact that they really do not play defense well. They can score, but they cannot play defense. I mean, they're averaging, I want to say they're giving up about 82 points a game, something like that. It's to me, it's scary because of the unknown, because we haven't really seen them this season in person. And I totally get that the novelty factor would play into not being a little bit anxious about them. But on paper and on film, I really, really think I think that's also a pretty good matchup for us.
Yeah, sure. The other point I think I should make, though, real quick, Larry, is like it's not so much, I'm worried about them. I just love them to take care of Wright State for us. Like, look, I'm not.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think it's the most ridiculous, like, idiotic take of all time. But I hate the whole like I want to beat the best thing. Hell no, dude. If Robert Morris wins round one, and then they go on and win all the way through, and we get to play Robert Morris in the last game, I'm all about it. Because if we were all like, here's the thing: if we were all like, we need to beat the best, like play the best, beat the best, whatever. Guess what? We're probably not making that first tournament, like that we ever made. Like we made that first tournament by never playing a seed higher than us. So sorry, until the Horizon League says, regular season winner goes to the tournament, NCAA tournament, I don't care about beating the best. I care about winning 3 games or whatever to get there. So
totally agree. I think that's the mentality of postseason play. You play who's put in front of you and who advances in the bracket. And, I agree with you, Kyle and Larry, both. I like the side of the bracket that we're on, regardless of who's going to be, forced to play us. I let's be honest. Yeah, we did take a game from Wright State this past weekend, but God, I think we would all agree we'd like to see them knocked out in a quarterfinal or semifinal to set up maybe a different type of a game for us in a semifinal or a final matchup. But yeah, you beat who's put in front of you, and you don't apologize or ask any questions about it, because that's how the postseason always is. Upsets happen. They're inevitable. But if it does come down to, us and Wright State in the finals, hey, bring it on. Then you can say, hey, you got to beat the best, because they were one of the best teams in the conference this season based off of record, along with Cleveland State. But no, I like the way that we're setting up. I think a 4 seed is great for us. And I think what's also going to play in an advantage, these back-to-back games that you mentioned early on, Kyle, how Coach Campion and Coach Horn had mentioned that number one, it's unheard of in any other conference across the country, and that they each, don't care very much for it. But it's going to be different because the timeline that's going to be set up here, I think what the first two sets of games after the quarterfinal game, the semifinals and finals are like days later. It's not like a successive amount of order days in order that they're playing the game. So after that quarterfinal game, semifinals and finals are what, maybe 3, 4, 5 days later? Is it the following weekend?
Yeah, so it goes the first round games are on Thursday, this coming Thursday, the 25th. Then we turn around and play on Tuesday the 2nd. And then where it gets weird is I believe that the regular season, or I'm sorry, the semifinal is on Monday, and then the championship is on Tuesday.
That's what I thought. I thought there were some days in between, but my point being is that there's going to be some added prep time between that quarterfinal and semifinal game to, maybe do some minor tweaks or make some adjustments based off of the opponent that you're going to have.
Real quick, between the quarterfinal and semifinal, yeah, there's a full week. You have a full week.
Okay.
So what you would think is they're going to probably get they're going to get heavy film, heavy game plan on the team they'll play. And then you'll probably have game plans ready for both teams for a quick turnaround. Probably won't practice any like sets or anything about Wright State or Oakland, but you're definitely going to have stuff ready for them. So
Right.
They're probably going to break off their, it'll be like Eric Hout and Darren Horn probably going to help work on the main game plan. And you got like McCormick and Harris will probably each man up like the other two teams and like lead the way on those scouts.
Yeah.
But that's just a guess. I mean, who the hell knows? I'm not.
But it's such a quirky setup that you've got a week in between, because it does benefit teams that do advance from the quarterfinal game, because you get a week to, if you happen to have any injuries or whatever, you can address those. But you also, to your point, Kyle, get a couple of days rest in terms of maybe doing 2 days of film session and then a couple of days walkthrough. And then, obviously then you're, en route to Indy to get situated and everything for the semifinals and finals. So I know that's not like really any other major conference tournament in the country that there's that much of a lull in between quarterfinal and semifinal games, but there's a lot of positives in it if you can get past that quarterfinal game, because again, you get some extra days rest, you can focus more on who your next opponent is, and you're not going to be so, I guess, focused like what has happened in the regular season, where you've got to make those quick turnaround tweaks, on the fly, and go that route. So it'll be interesting, but I agree with both of your assessments, but I do really, really, really like our side of the bracket. And I think we can do some damage.
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. In fact, we're going to air this episode that we're recording right now is going to air on Monday night. This episode of Last Call. We're also going to be recording throughout the week. I have a couple recordings set up, one with Bob McDonald and Matt Dudek of the Horizon Roundtable, where we're going to talk about sort of the tournament as a whole. We're going to just run through each matchup real quick, preview it all out, get some future good things going. Who do you see winning it all? Whatever. Of course, we're all writers for the Horizon Roundtable, but we all have our bias. Bob is a big Cleveland State guy. Matt's a big Oakland guy. I'm a big NKU guy. All three of those teams are in the semis already. They're top 4 seeds. They're hoping to get to the semis. So it'll be an interesting conversation. And then also getting Chris Hart and John Parker together. They are the two people. Chris Hart is my partner with Norse Report, co-owner with Norse Report, and John Parker's from the Horizon Roundtable. Both these guys release their their power rankings every week. They've been, following every game very, very closely. Chris has created a metric that tracks Horizon League Player of the Year. and John has kind of compiled and sort of, he's the one that heads the operation on the Horizon Roundtable side for, end of season awards. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for those awards to be announced. We believe it's going to happen on Tuesday, maybe Tuesday morning to afternoonish. And so we're hoping to get something recorded on Tuesday night, ready for you guys to watch on Wednesday, where we kind of talk through all the awards. Are they what we expected? Are they not? Why? All that kind of stuff. So look out for those. That's going to be in lieu of Matchup Zone this week. That's going to be the second episode of what we're calling Around the Horizon. So be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, we'll have our newsletter out as well this week. It'll be a little bit different, probably with games on Thursday this week. We may send the newsletter out a little earlier, but we'll kind of see. It's a different week for content for sure, different kind of feel for it. And that's about it, guys. I don't have anything else to talk about. We have some time off. So between this episode and the next one, I mean, we're probably not going to record the next one for another 10 days or so. So, enjoy yourself. Hopefully you guys can find some time on Thursday to break away and watch some of the games, especially the Detroit and Robert Morris game, but also our women play on the same night, I believe. I think it's 7, Michael?
Tuesday at 7.
Oh, is it this Tuesday or Thursday?
I'm sorry, the 25th. So that'd be Thursday. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
okay.
It's a 7:00 tip.
Okay. Okay, great. So the Detroit Mercy game is actually on the same time as that. So if you're really, really wanting to watch both, then definitely throw them both up on your screen. But if you're wanting to pick between the two, watch the women's game. We've really struggled down the stretch, but this team's dealt with a lot of injuries. They're very young. We still have a McDonald's All-American on our team, so anything can happen. But that's all I got, guys. Any last thoughts? Anything else?
Go Norse.
Let's do it.
Right?
Let's do it. Everything that we've gone through this season is leading up to this tournament. Let's, pedal to the metal.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right. See you.
See ya.